Okay, so then maybe, I don't know, a couple years later, again, I was doing it for family and that, and my wife had a rule. And I was doing it once in a while for pay too, but I wasn't really getting that much. I mean, it wasn't bad. Okay, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I need to back up here. My standard gig was 50 bucks, okay? And that pretty much was the whole time I was doing it. I don't think I went higher than that. My standard was 50 bucks, whether I was there 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or an hour. Now, don't get me wrong. If there was a big crowd, yeah, I would negotiate. That first year, I was charging 50 bucks. Or I'm sorry, that first year I charged $25. I charged that group 50 bucks, and they tipped me another 25. I haven't mentioned tips. Yes, I've gotten tips over the years. Not a lot, but every little bit helps. Let's put it this way. Most years I'm playing Santa Claus, it's because I need the money. I mean, you don't go out in the snow and shit. I haven't even mentioned that yet, okay? That's coming up. But you don't fight the Christmas weather because you want to. Yes, sometimes it was out of the goodness of my heart the first couple times and doing it for family. Sure, that's all well and good. But I mean, you don't do it for strangers. I guess you can't really say that totally. You know what? Let's go into the next story. That's a good lead in. Hey, I got an idea. Let's do this. A little bit. Oh, WMMS. Ha! Oh, that's pretty good. I wonder about this one. That's a little better. I'm going to turn that down. I don't want to drown myself out. But you can hear it, I hope. So yeah, one year, my wife and I, you're going to learn a little bit more about my wife and I. We like to play bingo, or we like to play bingo back in the day. Everything's back in the day, mostly this. So we like to play bingo, sometimes a lot. And we didn't win a lot. But one year, we played at a place, and I hit the full card. And it was me and one lady. We hit the full card, and we each got like 950 bucks. It was a good year. Well, I was really appreciative of it, and I thank God for it. And I told my wife, you know what we're going to do? I said, we play the lottery, we do bingo. Now, this was towards the beginning of the year. It was in the winter, but it was after the first of the year. And I told her, I said, all the money we win this year, we're going to put half of it back, and we're going to do something charitable next year at Christmas. And she agreed. And by the end of by Christmas time, we had saved up $1,400 because we didn't spend any of our winnings. We're talking bingo winnings. Now remember, 900 of it was one win, so we didn't win a lot that year. But lottery tickets, everything counted, and we put it all back. And I think it all totaled $1,400 because I remember we had $700 that year to spend on each other, to split and spend on each other for Christmas. And it was the first year we had a Christmas where we could spend a little bit of extra money on each other. Again, this is back in the day when they were having they first started the Black Friday deals. And on Black Friday, you could get a current setup computer for 25 bucks. And at that time, they were probably going for $250 to $300. I'm talking the original Black Fridays, when people would line up and get in fights in lines at Best Buys and Walmart, okay? So $350 that year to spend on each other went a long way. Well, now let's talk about the other seven. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sitting here driving to Michigan, like I said. I got my nephew. He's holding the phone that I'm taping on. And I just told him I didn't want to tell this story. And I don't like people doing charitable items or doing charitable things and then bragging about them. Corporates, every time I see a commercial where a corporation says, and Subaru gave $14 trillion to this charity. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's not charitable if you're using it for advertisement to make more money. Now, how's that charitable? Yes, you did a good thing. Don't get me wrong. You did a good thing. Okay? And on the surface, it counts as charity. Yay. But deep down, no. It's corporate greed. Okay? People, individuals. Okay? It's a heartfelt, heartwarming story. You came across somebody who was homeless and you flipped them a 20. Okay? Yeah, that's a good... But again, okay, why are you telling it? Who are you trying to impress? You and the person you gave it to are the only two people who need to know that story. Any other person, and there's a reason behind it. I got a charity story I'm going to tell you right now that I don't mind telling because it's funny and you're going to know why. So I just told my nephew this about an hour ago. Coming home from Ohio Dispensary, and I'm driving down the road. There's a guy in front of me in a really nice car, and he's acting like a jerk on the road. Okay, hitting his brakes. I get up on him. He hits his brakes. I back off. He takes off real fast. I do the speed limit. I mean, he was really being a jerk. So we get to this spot where there's these two bridges right before you turn onto the expressway, and there's a red light there. And there's always homeless people. I don't want to call them homeless because nowadays the people who sit on the side of the road and ask for, I don't want to call them beggars either because I know there's a term that's more politically correct. I can't think of it right now. But the people, panhandlers, that's not any much better, but yeah, it's better than beggar. Okay, so the panhandlers gather there a lot because they've got a audience that has to stop. Well, this guy was a real jerk, and he was right next to the guy. I knocked on my window, called the panhandler over, and told him, I got $2 here. No, I said, I got $1 here. No, I'm sorry, I was right. I said, I got $2 here, because I had 4, and I wasn't going to give him all of my money. I said, I got $2 here. If you'll go knock on that guy's window, when he rolls it down, tell him the guy behind him and point at me says, you're a dumbass. He looked at me. I said, here's the money. I'll give it to you in advance. Eyes lit up. He took the money, walked right up there, knocked on the window. The guy rolled down his window. He started talking. He turned and pointed at me. The guy looked in his mirror. I flipped him the bird out my window. He rolled up his window. The guy walked back. He goes, thanks, man. I said, no, thank you. And I handed him my other $2. So, you know, was that charity? No, I paid the guy to do me a deed. That's not charity. That's why I'm telling you about it. Now, here's the one I feel bad about. I swear I'm not trying to brag. It's part of the story. It's part of my Santa Claus experience. So that year we had $700 we swore we'd use for charity. We tried. I called hospitals. I'd like to come and play Santa and hand out gifts. You tell me what kind of gifts to buy. I've got $700. I got my own suit. I've done it for money before. I'm not a slouch. I will make it good for any kids, old people, whoever you want me to play Santa for. Well, that was after I'd already been turned down by a couple of them. At first, it was just like, yeah, I want to play Santa for the kids. We already had a Santa. Well, is there ever too many Santas? Well, yes, we don't want to ruin the look of it. I'm like, but I'm real good. I'll tell you what you can do. You can give us the $700 and will you put it to good use? Okay, thank you, bye. After getting that smeal a couple of times, now I'm throwing in the old people, anybody. And they're like, no, thank you. So I told my wife, I said, Karen, I don't know what we're going to do. I tried some other places like, I don't know, I think I called a couple firehouses, places like that. If they were going to do something, they already did. It was getting late, close to Christmas. So I told her, I said, who do we know that is down on their luck? And she mentioned one of our nephews that had like 3 kids. And yeah, he didn't have a job. And they were living in subsidized housing. I'm not mentioning any names. I'm almost in tears telling the story, okay? I'm not mentioning any. I'm not here to embarrass anybody except myself. We went to Mark's. Cheapest place we thought of where we could get toys that at least would look decent. We went to Mark's and spent $600 on toys for their 3 kids. First, we got a hold of family who was closer to them than we were found out the names and ages and sexes of all their kids, to be sure, because by that time we had quite a few nephews, okay, and nieces. So we went in prepared and we started buying items. You would be surprised in the mid 80s what you could buy at Mark's for $700, well, $600. We got trucks, we got dolls, we got radio controlled, not radio operated, not controlled. We got all kinds of stuff. These presents were not what the kids sought after those years, because by now trends had already taken place. You know, I think the original trendy gift was Cabbage Patch dolls, and that had been years and years gone by, like 20, 30 years gone by, and all the trends had gone by. But there were still trends every year, and these were not those toys. These were Mark's cheap toys. I'll say it. But we wanted to give them the most bang for the buck. My wife is one of these gifts. She wants gifts. She don't care how cheap they are. She wants 20 gifts for Christmas. I don't want one. I want one or two really nice things. Spend my money wisely. Get me nice items. She's like, I don't care. Give me one or two things that are okay. The rest just... Her standard year is hair ties, barrettes, the moon-shaped hair clips, gloves. Back when they used to make them, those little fold-over cigarette packs that you could also use as a wallet. Same thing every year. I'd get her hats, things like that, which I still do, because she still wants more quantity more than quality. So anyways, we're at Mark's. We filled a cart, maybe even two, I don't know. So we get it all back to the house. Oh, the other $100. Yeah, we went to D&K, or was it B&K? I don't know. And we bought their cheap gift wrap. Big mistake. But anyways, we bought their gift wrap so we could wrap everything. Bought gift tags. The stick-on kind, thank God. So, went home, wrapped it all up. God does miracles, I'm telling you. $600. At least 12 presents. One was a truck set that had to be 2 foot long, a foot tall, and 6 inches wide. Every cheese and rice and one of those gifts fit in that Santa bag. Did it close? No. The top did not close at all. It was the whole 2.5 inch diameter open, and I had to tie the rope across the top of it. But every one of those gifts fit in that bag. Of course, we threw in a gift for Mom and Dad too. Those I didn't put in the bag because they were, you know, different. And knock on the door, and first my wife stood off to the side. I would have had an elf suit. This is the only year she told me if I had an elf suit, she would have worn an elf suit for me. She's 4'11". I'm 6'2". She would have been my perfect elf. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's conversations we had numerous times over the years. Knock on the door, they see me, they didn't know who it was, and then Karen pops from around the corner, like, Uncle Bud, Aunt Karen. You want to come in too, Aunt Karen? They're going to know. I said, that's all right, don't worry about it. She's going to stand back by the door, it's fine. So I go in, sit down, play Santa, not what do you want for Christmas. Look, and this was Christmas Eve, by the way. I think it was like the first time maybe I played Christmas Eve. Unless I said, I don't know, my memory's not what it used to be. But if I said before I played something else on Christmas Eve, then it was the truth, and I'm forgetting now. But this was a Christmas Eve, and Santa came and gave them their Christmas. And those cheap-ass toys never lit up a kid's face more than that night. Santa walked out of there crying almost as much, well, more than he is now, but Santa walked out of there crying that night. And Mrs. Claus also. Mom and Dad, they were in tears. The kids were elated. Santa came. We walked in the door, and I'm not saying this to embarrass anybody, but either they hadn't put anything under the tree yet, because the kids had just gone to bed, or there was nothing going under the tree. I don't know. None of my business. All I know is I think this was God had everything in mind. The hospitals being rude, the whole 9 yards. God knew where that $700 was needed, and that's where it went.